The letters between us. In a quiet coastal village where the ocean whispered secrets to the shore, lived a young woman named Alara. She worked in a tiny bookstore that smelled of aged pages and sea salt, where tourists seldom wandered, but the locals came often, for books, and for conversation. Alara found comfort in the rhythm of the waves and the poetry between paragraphs. She wasn't searching for love. She had decided long ago that love, like the sea, was beautiful from afar but dangerous up close. One rainy morning, as Alara was opening the shop, she noticed a small letter tucked between two old novels in the classics section. It had no name, no address, just the words, "To whoever finds this, read it when it rains." Curious, Alara waited until the shop was quiet and the rain began to tap on the windows like gentle fingers. She opened the letter. It began. "Do you ever feel like the rain knows your secrets? Like it understands the ache you hide when the world thinks you're fine?" The letter went on to talk about loneliness, about longing, about dreams that never quite came true. It was raw, poetic, and heartbreakingly real. Alara was touched in a way she couldn't explain. She kept the letter and, without knowing why, wrote a reply. "Yes," she wrote. "I do feel that. Sometimes I think the rain is the only one who listens." She signed it only as the girl in the bookstore, and left her note where she found the first one. A week passed before another letter appeared, this time, left between volumes of Neruda's love poems. It was him again. He called himself the boy with the umbrella. So began a series of secret letters. Week after week, they wrote to each other. They never exchanged names, never described their appearances. Only thoughts, emotions, fears, and memories. He wrote about his dreams of becoming a writer. She shared how she once wanted to travel the world but stayed for her ailing grandmother. He confessed how he hated goodbyes. She admitted she didn't believe in love at first sight, until recently. Their words became a world of their own. A secret garden of ink and emotion. One letter read, "If we ever meet, I won't ask your name. I'll just recognize your soul." Alara began to wonder, was he real? Or was she falling in love with an idea? One spring day, he stopped writing. A whole month passed, then two. She searched every shelf in the store each morning, her heart sinking a little more with each unopened page. Just when she was ready to give up, a final letter appeared, folded neatly inside her favorite book, The Little Prince. It read, "I'm leaving the village. My father is sick. I may not come back. But I want you to know this, you made me believe in connection again. In words. In something more. If you ever want to find me, come to the lighthouse at sunset, the day after the first autumn rain. I'll wait. Just once." The day came. The rain returned with the quiet sadness of autumn. Alara stood by the sea, torn between fear and hope. As the sun began to dip, painting the sky in gold and crimson, she walked to the lighthouse. He was there. A man stood with an umbrella in his hand, just like she imagined. He turned, eyes soft, as if he'd known her all his life. He didn't speak. He just smiled and held out a letter. It read, "The rain may have carried our words, but I hope today, it carries us into something more." Alara stepped closer, heart pounding. "I'm Alara," she whispered. He smiled. "Liam. No more letters. Just hands intertwined, and a beginning." Whispers of the lavender fields. In a small countryside village in Provence, France, where the hills rolled like waves and the summer breeze carried the scent of lavender, lived a young woman named Elise Moreau. She was known throughout the village not only for her beautiful paintings of the landscape but also for her quiet, gentle soul. Elise had lived alone since her parents passed, spending her days painting and her evenings reading letters her mother once wrote to her father, letters filled with love and longing. One summer morning, as Elise was painting a sunrise over the violet-stained fields, a stranger arrived at the village. His name was Adrien Beaumont, a photographer from Paris seeking solitude after the heartbreak of a failed engagement. Drawn to the tranquility of the countryside, he rented a small cottage near Elise's home. Their first meeting was accidental. Elise was sketching by the riverbank when Adrien stumbled upon her, trying to capture the same scene with his camera. "You paint," he said softly, not wanting to disturb her concentration. She looked up, slightly startled, and gave a small nod. "And you photograph?" He smiled. "I suppose we both chase beauty." From that day on, their paths crossed often, at the market, by the lavender fields, at the little café run by Madame Lenore. At first, they exchanged only shy smiles and polite conversation. But gradually, those moments deepened into shared stories, laughter under the sun, and long walks beneath moonlit skies. Adrien began to admire not just Elise's art, but the way she saw the world, her patience, her kindness, her ability to find poetry in the simplest things. Elise, in turn, found herself drawn to Adrien's quiet strength, the way his eyes softened when he looked at her, and the way he always listened as if every word she said mattered. One evening, after a summer rain, they found shelter in an old stone chapel at the edge of the village. The sky outside was still glowing orange and pink, and inside, the air smelled faintly of old books and candles. "I used to believe love was something dramatic," Adrien confessed, his voice echoing softly in the stillness. "Something that had to hurt to be real. But with you, it feels quiet. Peaceful. Like home." Elise's heart thudded gently in her chest. She looked into his eyes and saw not just affection, but understanding. "Maybe love is supposed to feel like this," she whispered, "like a sunrise you never want to end." That night, they kissed for the first time beneath the bell tower, as the village lights shimmered like fireflies in the distance. Seasons passed. Adrien never returned to Paris. Instead, he stayed, opening a small gallery with Elise where their art and photographs told their love story without words. The lavender fields bloomed every summer, and in the midst of them stood two souls who had once been strangers, now inseparable. And whenever the wind danced through the blossoms, it carried the whispers of their love, a love born not from grand gestures, but from the quiet magic of simply being seen and cherished.